Hello guys and welcome back to another video, and today I'm joined by a really special guest, and that is Tolkien family member Timothy Tolkien. Welcome my friend.
Hello everybody, it's nice to be here on this video, and yeah, I'm looking forward to talking all things Tolkien.
Before we start, we obviously have to say how amazing is it being related to one of the best-selling authors of all time, J.R. Tolkien, and how's that been like growing up?
Well, I must admit it's quite cool being related, even if it is distantly related, and growing up it has been a positive impact having a Tolkien surname, because a lot of people do approach you because of it. So if you're in a bank or whatever and you have to write the surname, and it's, like J.R.R. Tolkien. So it's definitely interesting having that impact wherever you go.
Yes, that must be quite interesting, always being stopped and being asked if you are related to J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, that is quite interesting. But now moving on, what is the first Tolkien book that you actually read? Because for me, of course, like most people, it's growing up. When I was growing up, being read The Hobbit by my father while I was going to bed. I think that's how most people got introduced to Tolkien, excluding the movie. So, what book was it that you read first?
Surprisingly enough, the first book or the first Tolkien work I actually ever read wasn't one of the main ones. It was his Father Christmas letters. Then after that, I came to The Hobbit and read The Hobbit. And there's a dog in the background. Sorry.
It's fine, don't worry. And one interesting thing about the letters, especially the Christmas letters, is that it was quite interesting that they're originally just for his children. Seeing the relationship between him and his children expressed through those letters is really, really interesting. But also about The Hobbit and all of the other Tolkien's more prominent works, it is really, really cool seeing. And when I normally read his works, I always have a character that I can normally resonate with. And do you have a character when you look in the book, see that I can feel like being that character, and I understand how they are feeling, for example?
Personally, the character I would most relate to out of all of Tolkien's works is probably Bilbo in The Hobbit. The fact that he just takes a risk and goes on the adventure and lives all those experiences, even though it's not a very Baggins thing to do. Out of all the characters, I would definitely say I relate most to Bilbo Baggins, especially in The Hobbit, and in Lord of the Rings for when he tricks people and goes off to Rivendell. So yes, I definitely relate to Bilbo.
Yes, I can see where you're coming from, because in fact, even though, for example, maybe from a more outside perspective, him just going out and just leaving, going on an adventure, may seem quite fine and it's not too big or impactful or brave, but it's the fact that traditionally for Bagginses and for hobbits, they are not really aware of the wilderness or the people around them or the outside world. So for him actually leaving the Shire and actually wanting to go on this adventure is more impactful than some think. Because maybe he didn't go or like fight in the war like as a soldier or something like that to that extent. So it's not that type of bravery. Because you could say it is bravery as well, because he is going out of his comfort zone and he is going on an adventure as well. That people would probably, the hobbits would probably like frown upon maybe as well. But yeah, so as we continue, so what do you know about the Second Age, and how is your knowledge up to date?
My knowledge of the Second Age is not as up to date as it should be. All I do know is it's before the coming of Gandalf and all the Valiers, and basically it's Numenor and the Dunedain and all the elves. And I don't really know much. I should know more, I'm afraid to say. I know more about the Third Age, but the Second Age is going to be interesting. Well, is interesting, especially the history of Numenor and Morgoth and Sauron. So yeah, It's something I should and I will research and look more into, definitely read more into.
Yes, you are correct about Numenor, as of course not everybody's up to date with everything. If you ask me something about maybe from the Year of the Trees from Tolkien's works, I'm gonna be able to tell you about some of it. So yeah, it's fine. It doesn't matter anyways, because we all, if you enjoy Tolkien's works in your own way, it's great. So, but moving on, one thing I'd like to say is, of course, I know that you told me you're related to Tolkien through your great grandfather, I believe, and they were really closely related. So that's quite interesting. So I know I know you're not part of the inner Tolkien estate, but you are part of Tolkien's extended family. So it's quite interesting to see your initial views on when Amazon bought the rights to The Lord of the Rings for over £250 million.
I was quite surprised when they did sell the rights to Amazon, because I just thought they wouldn't do anything else with the works. I didn't expect any more series or films or anything. But I think it's interesting that they have sold it to Amazon, since Amazon are known for their series, and it would be definitely be a challenge to adapt all the works into a series. So yeah, definitely surprised at that the rights being sold to Amazon.
Yes, it is quite interesting they spent that much for the Lord of the Rings rights, and we will have to wait and see what material they have, because they must have a lot if they're spending 250 million on it. But before we continue, I'd like to ask, what's your opinion on the Lord of the Rings films and Hobbit films? Do you believe it's a fair reflection of Tolkien's works, or do you believe it's more a bastardization? So what are your opinions on that?
I think out of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and the Lord of the Rings, even though a lot of characters weren't the same, and a lot of the scenes from the books were left out in the film, the Lord of the Rings was definitely a lot truer to the book, because everything wasn't CGI and they had to hand make all the sets and the costumes, and there was more love. It felt more love went into it. And The Hobbit was just, I don't know why it was three-parter, considering The Hobbit's only a book. So out of the both of them, I think the Lord of the Rings does more justice to the book than the adaptation of The Hobbit does, which is definitely why, out of both of the films, I prefer the Lord of the Rings trilogy to the Hobbit trilogy.
Yes, you are correct, and I believe that's the majority view, that people see the Lord of the Rings have much more care and actually more truer to the book, and the changes made may have been a bit annoying but necessary for the film to run smoothly. But with The Hobbit, I think that's more got to do with Warner Brothers and the way the executive producers handled the films, which I think was awful. So, how do you think Amazon will take this project of putting the Lord of the Rings into a TV series, and not the Lord of the Rings, actually the Second Age? Do you think they'll go more the Hobbit way or more the Lord of the Rings way? I mean that by the movies.
Well, hopefully, if they have any common sense, they would go the Lord of the Rings way, and because there's so much information and so much knowledge from the Second Age, I think the Lord of the Rings way would be better. Certainly in the attention to detail to the costumes and the sets and the storytelling. Because if they did do it the Hobbit way, it would just not be as good. And also with the series, it's better because you have more time to get into the attention to detail. So you can get delve deeper into the Second Age and tell the story better. At least that's what they might do. I don't know. Hopefully they do go down the Lord of the Rings path of more attention to detail, more care, and better storytelling. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
And that's the end of part 1 of my discussion with Tolkien family member Timothy Tolkien. Part 2 will be coming out soon, so please check your sub boxes, as that will be released soon. But thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it, and until the next video my friends, goodbye.